Hello, my Zentangle friends. This is Barbara Langston, CZT, Certified Zentangle Teacher. Today is May 9th. In the United States, it is Mother's Day. And I am grateful to be a mother of 4 children, and I have 5 grandchildren. And I'm very happy, grateful to be a mother. All right, so today I'm going to do a tile using some of the patterns on tanglepatterns.com that have come out in the last 2 months or so, I guess. One is called Turkital by Jenna Black. Excuse me. One is called Aleuba by Jaxeline Blanco Ruiz, and she's a CZT. And for those who know Spanish, that word is abuela, or grandmother, backwards. So I thought that would be a cool one to use today. And the other one is Veruca. This one is by Veronica Vazquez, Orozco. Hope I'm saying that right. CZT 34. I met Veronica at the CZT 34 seminar, and I love this pattern. Of course, I love organic and botanical type patterns, so I really had fun with that. This is the main pattern. Excuse me. And these are 3 variations of that main pattern. I really like it. I am going to use a 4-inch gray tile that I cut. Of course, the graphite pencil, tortillon. This is a graphic 1. And if you don't have that, that's fine. I just like to use it to fill in some of the areas a little bit faster, so you don't have to just watch me filling things in. Excuse me. And a micron 01. So let me zoom in. Also, I'm using red for the background now. I told my students recently that I was watching an artist teach to young children on YouTube recently, and he said that they use a red background because it makes it easier to see the art. And so I'm trying that. My students liked it when I used it at my recent Zoom class, so I hope you like it. Excuse me again. We are going to make a double border, and I want it to be close to the edge. Again, this is a 4-inch tile that I'm using. This pattern can also be done, of course, on a 3.5-inch tile. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and switch to my 01. I've got my 4 corner dots, but I want this outline to be in ink. So rather than do it in pencil first, I'm going to go ahead and make it in ink. Excuse my allergies. And I didn't exactly go to where that dot is, but that's okay. I'm just trying to get a good narrow border to start with. Okay, now I'm going to go inside from that just a little bit, and I'm going to R that border on the inside. I practiced these patterns over the last few days. I really like them. They're easy to do, easy to remember. And that's pretty important to me right now to find things that are easy to remember. Okay, so I'm going to come in, what would I say, about the width of my pin cap. And I'm going to start another border inside of this one. So it's kind of like adding a frame. Doesn't matter if it's exactly the same distance all the way around. Again, I'm going to do the same thing. Oh, okay. So if I was worried about what I just did, I could come back and just totally color this in, but I'm not worried. I enjoy my Zentangle time so much better now that I'm doing things that I really enjoy. I rarely do the challenges or prompts because of my perfectionism. I feel like before I put something like that up, I have to make it just right, and I just don't want to do that. So I just go with what I enjoy doing. Okay, so this is, I'm going to do on the border the Aleuba, and it is simply, I'm going to start a little bit from that corner and put an orb a little bit bigger. And I'm making these kind of big because I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on these, but I want to show you how to do them. We're going to fill in this area at the base of these orbs, and then we're going to aura them. You can do this in various sizes. I've done it small, I've done it large, and I like it in all the different ways. And if you go look at tanglepatterns.com, she's got some cool variations. So I'm going to move down a little bit from that and do the same thing. And I'm starting with this so that I know my general distance away from that one. A little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, smaller, smaller. And this is going to get a little bit repetitive, but you are more than welcome to fast forward. I don't do my videos in high speed because it makes me crazy when I try to watch a video that the only choice you have is the high speed. So I don't do that. I give you the option to speed it up or slow it down. Okay. And again, I start with this one so that I get my spacing the way that I want it. Fill in the bottom. If I go too fast, I get sloppy. Okay, so while you're watching me do this, I have been raising caterpillars, monarch caterpillars, and it has been a chore, but also fascinating. My granddaughters found 3 caterpillars that were about an inch long, and we brought them into our caterpillar monarch, or just butterfly cage, and I've been feeding them. Excuse me. Environmentally, there is a lot of problems keeping the monarchs alive because of so much as far as wild prairies and stuff being cut down, and because of pesticides and stuff, the number of monarchs is decreasing at alarming rates. There are also pests and lizards and things like that that can kill the caterpillars. Also diseases. Anyway, so I've been following this guy on Facebook, not Facebook, I'm sorry, YouTube, that tells you how to do it. And I have 3 monarchs that have already, those 3 that my granddaughters found have already turned to chrysalis and hatched and flown away. And then I have 7 more that are currently in chrysalis or almost there. And they are called chrysalides, which I thought was very interesting. So I'm learning a lot about monarch butterflies and really enjoy seeing them fly around in my yard. I have a bee garden, which is mostly just wild, native flowering plants. And that's really pretty. Okay, so I'm trying. Okay, so I guess I'll just go ahead and go back to the side. Keep turning your tile to keep your hand comfortable. This makes a pretty ribbon and a pretty border. And I'll show you quickly one of the variations down the center there. That was one of the tiles I was practicing on. I do find that if I start my circle at the edge of the one before it, I do a little bit better on getting the size right and getting it to turn out the way that I want it to. And when I first did this one, I did them so small that it took me forever. So that's why I decided to do these big. And then you can try doing them whatever size works for you. Let's get really big. As I've often said, being consistent and making them perfect is not my forte. It's not what I do. It's not what I strive for. Although, like I said, when I first started doing Zentangle and seeing some of the work that other people did, people who are trained artists. Some of them are Zentangle teachers. I'm not a trained artist, and I have learned to not compare myself or my work to what they do. Just be happy with what I am doing. Okay, I have forgotten to fill this in at the bottom, a couple of these. Another thing I've been trying to do is I find patterns that are like, I keep them in pocket pages that hold these 2x2s, and I have them in categories such as organic or grid or ribbon patterns, things like that. And having those 2x2s, which was an idea first shown, I believe, by Annie Oken, that helps me to find patterns that I'm looking for, including the name, so that I can find the ones that I want to use. Okay, so there we go. I have finished that pattern. I'll show you the first one that I did. See how tiny they were? Took me a long time. So this didn't take quite so long. All right, the next one that we are going to do is the Turkital. And I printed out the picture off of tangle patterns of, this is a turkey tail mushroom or fungus. That's what this pattern is based on. So let me turn that around. So like that. That's what we're drawing, sort of. So let's start with that. And it's really a lot of random lines and patterns. You can do it however you want. This is the basic pattern. So I don't know why I'm turning my time. It's the same on all sides. I'm going to make this part the top. So I'm going to start with a thick line, and to do that, just squiggly, doesn't have to be perfect at all, and bring that around. And then I'm going to turn it this way so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to aura that. Okay, and I want to fill that in, so that's why I have the graphic one. Makes it go much faster. If you don't have a graphic one, then you can definitely just fill it in with whatever pen you have. Another cool option for your tiles. In fact, I had initially meant to use blue on this, but I didn't. But you can use these Identapens. And the nice thing about them is they have a fine tip. And then they have a larger tip. So if I didn't have the graphic one, then I would probably be using one of those ident pins. Okay, so there's that first one. And I could just go ahead and work with ident pin if I want to do this second one. So I'm going to come out just at a random distance. And I'm not trying to necessarily perfectly follow that first line. Okay. And I'm going to make it dark also. So I'm just going to R it. And then I'm going to fill it in. And there are many times when my hand will just kind of jump, which is what happened right here. And in a pattern like this, it doesn't matter. This is organic. You can vary these lines however you want. Okay, but I'm going to follow this one to begin with. And I want my outside line, like right here, to also be kind of bold. So I'm going to go ahead and use my graphic one. And a couple of times I'm just going to come in a little bit as if the outside of this has little cracks in it, which they tend to have. And it gives it just a cool look. Okay. Putting that down, going back to my graphic 01. And where I had it come down, I'm going to make that crack go all the way down to the other layer. You can even have it go through 2 layers. Okay, and this one, have it come down. Fill in my spots a little bit better. All right, and another one here. And then I'm just going to add lines. You can make them as close or far apart as you want. Occasionally I'm going to make one a little bit darker, thicker. They can be a little bit curved. Again, this is based on a mushroom or fungus. Again, I would have to look that up. And they don't have perfect patterns. I'm going to make one of these thicker. Okay, just keep adding your lines. Okay, so there is our first Turkital. Like I said, the mushroom is turkey tail, but the name of the pattern is Turkital, Jenna Black. All right, so the next one we're going to make just a little bit different. And I probably could have made that one a little bit smaller, but it's okay. I'm going to start in this corner with this one and make my little random line. And then I'm just going to go back with my 01 this time and thicken that a little bit. And now I'm going to R that one a little bit further out. We're going to put lines inside of this one. Just loved looking at the example that Jenna Black has on the Tangle Patterns site for the step outs. She does a lot of really cool variations on this, and it's just whatever you want to do. It doesn't have to be exactly what she puts. Do your lines the way that you want. Like here, we could go ahead and put lines inside of this one also. Another one of those where it's easy to say, well, what if I do it this way? Or what if I do it another way? Okay. So this one, I'm going to get my graphic one. Make this one black. Fill it in. Or you can use your O1. Okay. Now I'm going to do another one. Kind of or that one. Thicken it a little bit. I'm sorry, I think I have been noticing that I probably get a little low on my voice. It might be hard to hear, so I'm trying to do better. Okay. I'm going to bring some little spikes down through here. And now I'm going to add lines. Trying to keep telling myself to go all the way to the next line. I have a bad habit of like right there. Okay. So I have a bad habit of not going all the way to the next line, like here. And probably because I try to go a little bit too fast. Okay, so let's just, for difference, and I'm just going to use my graphic one here and add just another quick outline on this one. Okay, just to show you that you can do these however you want to do it. Let's do one more over here. For this one, I'm going to do a little bit of a thick one. And another one close to that. Okay. I'm going to come out from that one. Do another one. And I think I'll put lines inside of this one. And you could continue, excuse me, to keep adding layers of these, as many as you want. Okay, I'm doing another thin layer here. and just darken it a little bit. Okay, this is going to be my top layer. I'm gonna actually, I lied. This is gonna be my top layer. I think I'm gonna add one more. I'm gonna thicken it. Have that go down also. And I'm going to put my lines in this top one. All right, so that is Turkital. And the last one that I'm going to do is Veruca by Veronica, Vazquez, Orozco. And this one is easy to do. I'm just going to, excuse me, start down here. And I'm going to have a petal or a stem, sorry, come up like this. I'll put my stem and then aura it. And then I'm going to put a little oval on around this and fill it in. This is the dark part where the stem is going under the flower, or going into the bottom of the flower. Maybe that's a better way to say it. So we're going to fill that in. And then we're going to aura that. You can make this short or wide. Then where the stem comes up is where I'm going to put the first part of this flower. Just a nice petal that goes up. And then we're going to echo those petals coming down on each side of it. And stop here. And then we're going to do that again on this side. I'm not counting to see if they're the same. I don't know if they are or not. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, cool. The next one I'm going to do is a variation of that. I'm going to go under with that stem and bring it around. Aura, that side of the stem. Okay, and now we're going to put that dark area for the base of the flower. Fill it in. And then aura that. Okay. Now I'm going to go up to the top. And this one is going to look more pointed and a little bit rounder. Another one next to it. a little bit smaller on this side. And come back around, add another one, and a little bit smaller. Okay, so there's two of the variations. I'm going to go inside each of these petals and add a little bit of hatching. If you have an open spot down here, go ahead and just fill that in or put some hatching there. Okay, so that's two of them. The next one that I'm going to do, let's have it come up this way. Add our little area at the bottom, fill it in. All right. Okay. I really like how this petal looks, how she did it in her variation. Come up, flat at the top, and come back down. Come down a little bit. These are all going behind the first petals and getting smaller as we go. We're going to put two on each side. And then in the center, I love how she has just simple lines and a dot. All right. And then one more. Trying to decide how to have it come out. I think I'll go this way. An aura, my stem. Add the bottom of my flower and shade it in, fill it in. Aura it. And then we're going to start basically the same as this one. Okay. And the difference with this one is it's going to go all the way around. Okay. So we're going to echo that. And then just keep putting small petals around it. This one's going to go behind. And I'm going to go back up to the top and start echoing that other side. And then meet up with that. Okay, so there are our 4 types of flowers from the pattern Veruca. And now we're going to shade. So I'm going to start in the center part with the flowers. And I'm just going to add some graphite at the base of the petals for each of these. Also put a little bit of graphite where that stem goes under. Okay, and have my tortillon. I'm going to go back and just soften that out. Just gently pull it into each petal. You could come back with a white charcoal pencil if you have it. We'll look at that since this is a gray tile. Okay, so just softly pull your graphite into the tile, to the rest of the flower. You could, on this middle one, bring it up just a little bit more. If you have bigger flowers, you could add shading at the side of each petal. But since these are so small, I'm not going to try to pull them up like that. I like this one. I like that one a lot. Okay, so there's our flowers. On the Turkital, where one mushroom, okay, I'm just going to call these mushrooms, where one overlaps another, I'm going to kind of go heavy on the shading here. On both sides. And then I'm also going to add color inside of these just with my graphite. Just shade them a little bit. And you may not even need to put much graphite on your tile, because if you use your tortillon, that can easily add some little bit of gray inside of these without having to use your pencil, because your graphite holds on to so much of the black. Okay, and where I did that, I'm having a hard time now seeing the line. So I am going to use my 01 and I'm going to redefine that line. Make it a little bit darker. Okay, let's try the other side. And soften your graphite. And I'm going to show you, without using my graphite pencil, I can still put a little bit of gray up into this because there's so much left on my tortillon, my blending stump. Now I'm going to go back and redefine the line like I did on the other side. Okay. For the outside pattern, which is the Aleuba, we are going to add graphite on the outside of each of these auras. And try to remember to point your pencil at the line that you are trying to outline with the shading, rather than going like this. Okay, your pencil should be pointing at that line. You'll have a much better effect. I really like this pattern. It's simple, but it's pretty. And like I said, make sure you look at the variations. I think one of them was she did a really dark line on the outside. Okay. So this is the reason that the graphite pencils are so short, is so that you can hold them in your hand like this and point them where you're adding the graphite. I've seen Rick, if he gets a long pencil, he'll cut it so that he can hold it this way. Almost done. I think I'm doing better staying inside the block. And tell me what you think about the red. Like I said, this background, my students liked it. All right, so now I'm going to take my tortillon and soften that graphite. I think I've said before that I didn't do a lot of shading in the very beginning. I wasn't confident in what I was doing. But, you know, the only way that you can get better is to try it. And now I love it. It definitely adds so much to your tile. I love using the gray or the Renaissance or a tile that I've colored, because then you can use the white charcoal and add a little more highlight. Okay. And let's add just one little thing like this in our little perps, or whatever you want to call these. I'm going to do them all this way first. I'm not worrying about direction of light or anything like that. Okay, now I'm going to do it on the ones on the inside. I'll just go the other direction. All right, now I'm going to take my blending stump, and on each of these, just blend them a little bit. And if I didn't put a line there, I still have enough on my blending stump to add a little bit of shading inside that circle. Gives it some dimension. Oh, I hope I'm doing okay on the camera. So the CZT seminar begins next week. I think it's 37. 2 of my students will be there. Hooray for Yehudit and Loretta. Proud of you guys. All right, there we go. Because this is a gray tile, I am going to see what happens if I put, let's put a little bit of white inside this one. Maybe a little bit inside this one. Not being precise, just doing it. It's kind of fun. On the outside of these leaves, let's highlight the tips just a little bit. If you're on a white tile, you won't be able to do this, but you could add color and highlights afterwards. Okay, I'm going to put some on the tips of these flowers also. Lost my line a little bit there, so I'm going to redefine it. Okay. And we'll put a little bit on here also. All right. You could even go back and Let's just put white in the very center of the largest orbs that I have. And I didn't blend those. I think it looks good. Okay. That was fun for an impromptu type tile. Although I have been practicing for a couple of days, I wasn't sure if I was actually going to do this outside ribbon because it had taken me so long in my practice when I did these other tiles. So for this variation, that took a lot of time. And my idea was to teach this one, but it just got to be too much to have this right on top of that one that has those additional auras in it. And this one's pretty much the same as what we did today, except the little flowers were smaller and all of these were a lot smaller. And if you want to add a dragonfly, all I did on that was draw a line. It's a little bit thicker at the top than at the bottom. I add kind of like a flex petal here for a wing. I'm going to turn it and do the same thing here. I saw someone else do this recently, so thank you to whoever it was that I saw do that. And then put two little eyes. And I'm going to come back and make these white. All right. Going to add my chop. I have it come down here. There's my L. There's a B. I'm going to put another B inside that B. I'm still kind of playing with my chop again. But there you go. That was fun. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment if you liked it. Please give me a thumbs up. And would always love to have someone buy me a cup of coffee. You can find that in the link in the description of the video. For those who, I'm not sure when I'll get this uploaded, but happy Mother's Day. Hope you had a good one. Hope everything is going good in your life. I enjoyed teaching you guys and hope that I'll see you again soon. Bye.